Tonight on One Day Leader, our candidates are taking South Africa's key social challenge head on: access to quality education. Good evening, I'm Masechaba Lekalake and you're watching One Day Leader, the show that seeks to find one South African youth leader who has the power to convince you, the viewer, to believe in his or her vision. We're live on SABC 1, so get your mobile phone ready, interact with us, read up about our candidates, vote, and let your voice be heard by the entire nation on One Day Leader. It is not just about our remaining 4 candidates, it's about you. Last week, we had our second elimination episode in which one of our leaders, Sebenzile, was eliminated. Tonight, we have 4 candidates still in the running to be One Day Leader, and they are Candidate 1, Zwele Tukos. Candidate 3, Ayanda Bandla. Candidate 4, Yohandu Pisani. Candidate 5, Candidate 6, Leslie Masibi. It's so easy to forget that Sebenzile is not here anymore. Candidates, as you've seen in our previous rounds, the scores from round 2 have been cleared from the scoreboard. But just to be fair, I will immediately add some points. I am awarding Leslie with 2 points as our leading scoreman, and I will be awarding Zweletu with 1 point as our runner-up. Now, this means that both Ayanda and Johan start round 3 with 0 points. Now, Zweletu, how did you feel about Sebenzile being eliminated last week?
You know, Masechaba, we had created a bond. All of us have now become a team. So now when one of us is eliminated, it's like a part of us has been taken away.
Yeah.
We dearly miss her so much.
I know what you mean. Ayanda, now it seemed like in the last round, our viewers voted predominantly for the males. How do you intend to change that in this round?
Well, I just keep doing what I am doing. I mean, I've got a mammoth task ahead of me, but one that is not impossible. I'm no longer doing this for myself, but for every single female who is a leader in their community, in their homes. And I'm doing this for every single female judge who is sat on the judging panel. I'm doing it for you, Masechaba. I'm doing it for Vanessa Vollenhoven, and I'm doing it for Sebenzile Nkambule. And soon, this country will reap the fruits that young female leadership will bear. Young female leadership in Vanessa Vollenhoven, young female leadership in Sebenzile Nkambule, and young female leadership in Ayanda Mandisa Bandla.
Wow. Well, you are holding the fort tonight. Johan, now you're starting out on 0. What is your strategy in round 3?
Masechaba, I think up until now it has worked well for me just to be myself and be who I am and be the leader that I was trained to be from a very young age. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Leslie, you're still in the lead. I know you have what it takes. Do you think that you will still remain on top by the end of this episode?
Masechaba, this is the last round, and it's more imperative more than ever that I put out my best out there, because these competitors are as equal to the task. So as I stand here, it will be my very greatest strength that will bring me out on top.
Thank you very much. Thank you, candidates. And now let's meet our panel of experts, beginning with Eric Vermeulen, our leadership guru. Vusitembe Gwayo, globally renowned motivational speaker. And this week, our revolving judge is Panyaza Lesufi, advisor to the Minister of Education. Thank you for honoring us with your presence tonight. Now, viewers, the voting lines are open until our 3rd segment. I will warn you when I'm closing them. So when you feel ready to vote for your elected leader, SMS the word VOTE, that's VOTE, and the candidate's number to 41852. You can also vote for your elected leader using onedayleader.mobi. Your vote, together with the decisions made by our panel of experts, decide tonight's winner. So listen carefully and decide which candidate's views, statements, and leadership style you wish to support, and then vote for that candidate. Now, contestants, you only have 2 chances to win tonight, and that's through our election points, being the viewer's vote, and of course, our one-on-one debate, which we will see and experience shortly. Should there be a draw at any stage in the competition, the panel of experts will have the deciding vote. Our theme tonight is access to quality education. In the fact-finding mission, our candidates went to Alexandra High School to understand what challenges students face when it comes to quality education, where they lack facilities like sports grounds and science labs. Let's take a look.
Qala South Africa inemicelimngeni eminingi when it comes to inhlobo yemfundo esifumanayo singabantu baseSouth Africa nenhlobo yemfundo abantwana abasesikolweni abayifumanayo.
With regards to your facilities, you don't have equipment, you don't have proper facilities, but you are succeeding in this school without these proper facilities. How important is it to get these same facilities that people in Model C schools get?
It's much more important when it comes to experiments. There are some that you can do theoretically, reading books, but then there are some that you really need to see how they work. We are given free textbook. We have some we're given free uniforms, as in when you don't have a uniform, you are given. But then, and the education is free. But then, I see that most of us don't value that education.
I just feel ukuthi it's very disappointment to have government ekhoyo apha that has irresponsibility ukuthi ijongane nezinto and they are not doing much about it. Into nayo disappointing is that abantwana besikolo nabo bathatha responsibility for themselves.
Abafundi base-South Africa abanye bayonqena and okwesibini abayikhathalelanga lento bayinikwayo abayazi ukuba le mfundo bayifumanayo namhlanje ilwelwe.
Teachers are not enough. One teacher can teach up to 8 classes, minimum with 40 children, and has to mark them, mark the work.
After so many years, since re na le bana ba ileng gore ba tsenela mo di-classroomong tse leng gore they are dilapidated. Dilonyane tse tshwanang le tseo they are very unacceptable. Le dilo tse dingwe tse leng gore di affecta how ngwana does ko sekolong.
There are many teenage pregnancies in school. I would say estimating plus minus 15% of learners do get pregnant.
Die grootste probleme hier is meestal sosiale of kan meestal teruggevat word na sosiale probleme. Kinders wat nie toegang het tot skool nie omdat hulle bloot nie kan uitkom nie. Skole wat nie genoeg geld het om behoorlike fasiliteite soos laboratoriums daar te stel nie.
And it does affect the management of the school, as in we have 3,000 learners January. Come June, 200 have dropped out because they have to be parents, some because their parents can't take care of their children and their grandchildren.
Kwizikolo ezikhoyo siyafumanisa ukuthi zikhona intimate sexual relations between the student and the teacher, and I think it's totally unacceptable for someone in a position of power such as a teacher to use that infiltrating abantwana abesikolo.
It does affect mostly the class if a learner and a teacher are involved. Do you think if I'm involved with a teacher and I don't do well in class, mostly in those lower grades, am I going to get low marks? You don't expect me to get low marks when I'm intimate with you. I expect you to be there for me as I'm there for you. So that relationship affects the marks of other children and the attitude that they give you as a person.
Our education system needs to be changed. And I'm telling you, it changes every single year or every 2 years. 5 minutes ago OBE, the next NC. Can we find a suitable system education on par? Let's make a trial and error with our people.
For the past 2 years, we had low performance rate. And the years before we were the top school in Alex. And then I think for those who have passed, there's lack of access to universities. And you find out that you are competing against those who get 90 from the so-called modern school. So the chances of us getting into university is slightly not there.
Wow, that's quite sad and rather disturbing. But candidates, I want you to give me your thoughts on the current status of education in South Africa. Zweletu, after that experience, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are we are in trouble. Because Valencia would say that a country is as powerful as its education system. Where you find in the Eastern Cape students studying under trees, you know, what quality will they get from there? We are in trouble and something needs to be done. Graham Block says here on the internet, he says that in all international tests, South Africa came last when it came to numeracy and maths, meaning that we are indeed in trouble. Something needs to be done.
Something
I
does
have
need
solutions.
to be done indeed. Ayanda, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, Masechaba, that the current status of education in this country is still segregated. We find that young learners that are going to affluent schools from affluent backgrounds get that access to quality education, whereas that your children from destitute communities do not have that. And we need to really find solutions to correct that. We also have a problem where our kids don't have effective counsel and mentorship within education, hence they don't care about their education or even the access to quality education. And I think we need to find means and ways in which we can correct that. And that is why we are all here.
Right, it's sad. Quality education is a right. Johan?
Masechaba, our past has left us crippled in terms of education, and this rehabilitation process is going to take a very long time. But I truly believe we are definitely getting there.
All right. That's the most important thing. Leslie?
Masechaba, I must say that the government has made concerted efforts. We have 99% enrollment at primary school and 87% at secondary. It means that more people are having access to school, but it doesn't mean that they are receiving quality education. In our country as it stands, we use the benchmark of matric pass rates as access to quality. That is not an exemplary that we can set, and especially if you compare our country with countries such as Botswana and Zambia, who are performing way better, even though they are less affluent than ours. We need to ensure that poor schools in rural areas are being attended to. And this has been going on for the past 17 years. We keep preaching the same message.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Ntata Panyaza now, as we've just heard, and we know literacy levels are still at a shocking rate. How do you respond to these young people's thoughts right now?
Well, the good thing is that, and I need to congratulate you and the team here, education is a societal matter. If communities cannot be part of education, we can't find a solution. And there's no single individual who can claim at solutions to all the problems. So you need collective thoughts, collective ideas, and collective hard work. And some of the ideas that contestants are presenting here, it's encouraging because it means that there's acknowledgement of process.
Yeah, fantastic. Vusi, you look like you've got something to say.
No, I don't.
Oh, wow. Vusi has nothing to say. Thank you very much. I'll come back to you guys in a moment. Now, after the break, we take a look at our second insert, and then our candidates defend their vision statements in our one-on-one debate session. Ladies and gentlemen, the voting lines are open, and you can at any time SMS the word vote and the candidate's number to 41852. That's 41852. See you after the break. Just asked if you could just speak up a little.
Sorry to Johanna. Please.
No need.
I don't want anyone to be disadvantaged. I know the pain of being a disadvantage.
No. this is One Day Leader. Remember, our voting lines are open, so keep voting for your favorite leader by sending the word VOTE, V-O-T-E, followed by the number of your elected leader to 41852. Our theme tonight is access to quality education. Let's take a look at our next insert.
Toegang tot kwaliteit onderrig is dat nie wat dit moet wees nie, maar ons kom verseker daar. Ons is in Diepsloot by die Diepsloot Combined School en dit is regtig 'n wonderlike voorbeeld van wat ontwikkeling is en kan wees.
I've been in the school for almost 8 years and we've been learning in 4 containers, so now we're in the classes.
The principal yalapha has taken it upon themselves to aye out there ayofuna other alternative resources in which angabuilda ngaso isikolo asebenza apha kuso.
We're having good leaders in the school. Our principal is a very good leader and also the teachers are very committed teachers. So they are the ones who are guiding us, telling us that we have to take care of the school, we have to clean up the school so that when we go home, we can also set the example at home to clean the environment there.
You probably have no control over this, but what brings you to this side of the border?
You remember when our country's economy was started to fall, it was around 2008, 2009. So most of the time we're in the classroom, but there were no educators to guide us.
Bothata bo we no country ya rona bo face ke quality education. We care about quantity and not about quality.
Not speaking of favoritism, I think the education in my home country is good because in Zim, a person, because people have got different talents. Ne? Some of us were not good in the mind, but we can play sport. So there is a division. Someone can play sport from the morning, then goes to school in the afternoon. But here at this school, we are only concerned about our education.
We are forgetting the practical side of things. Ngoba abanye abafundi ngokumamela utitshala ethetha nokujonga incwadi. Kodwa bafunda kakhulu xa besenza izinto ngezandla zabo.
Don't you think it would be more beneficial if you went back to your own home country to boost their economy and even their education system instead of relying more on boosting this side of the economy and expecting this country's economy to support your country's?
I think the best idea is to boost this side of the country, since where it has the capabilities of rising up than my country, where I have to start from scratch to start making things go together, hand in hand.
What is the relationship like between the school? How do you know the relationship between the school and the community and other sponsors out there in terms of developing the school?
I could say the relationship is very closely. It is actually also the performance of the learners of the school. They're really actually working hard to get high grade of marks pass.
Vir die jeug van ons land, julle moet besef dat jou toekoms lê in jou hande. Dit lê nie in jou onderwysers se hande nie, dit lê nie in die regering se hande nie. Dit lê in jou eie hande. Dit is jou verantwoordelikheid om skool toe te gaan.
Let's learn the private schools are doing. Clarity saying more public schools to ensure le bona ba kry quality and standard education e tla ba provide gore ba kgone go compete. Not only because ngwana wa graduate mo sekolong sa mo Diepsloot ha se bitla a nne le exposure e sharp, ha fitla go university o tlotsa 10 years pele ga computer. Why? Because re swantse ba sokola, they are trying to catch up with what other young people from private schools have already gotten over.
Alex, we see ukuthi umntana xa ene problem esikolweni, the teacher sends a letter back home, but in some instances those letters the parents don't even receive those letters because abantwana bayazifihla these things. I think it's very effective that teachers and parents have direct communication. The middleman, being the student, should be cut out.
Alafuneka abafundi bathathe irresponsibility ngemfundo yabo. Okwesibini, abazali qala noba umzali usola kangakanani na, noba umzali akafundanga kangakanani na, but athi make sure that umntana wakho uyamluleka.
All right, so much we take for granted, but it's now time for our one-on-one debates. Now, remember to vote for your candidate, the one whose vision you support. Now, candidates, we do have a little bit more time today, so I will allocate 40 seconds to your vision statements and thereafter 90 seconds to defend your vision statements. Is everyone clear on that?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome stuff. Now, Just before the show, our candidates did a random draw to choose their opponents. And in our first debate, we will have Leslie and Zweletu. The audience seems to be very happy about that. Leslie, you have 40 seconds to give us your vision statement addressing access to quality education in South Africa. Your time begins now.
Masechaba, we need to develop rural and township schools. As it stands, the government has prioritized only 85 MIT schools, whereas in this country we have over 476 MIT schools that exist in KZN and in Eastern Cape. We need to make sure that the infrastructure grant that's allocated to these schools is used to build libraries and labs. And we also have a problem like in the Eastern Cape, for instance, where there's mismanagement of funds, which is meant to improve these infrastructures. We need to have partnership between universities and FETs colleges and these high schools and primary schools to ensure that there's institutional support. We also must ensure that we make the temporary posts of teachers permanent, and we also give them refreshers courses that will help them with the content of their knowledge. And also,
time is up, Leslie. Thank you very much. Zweletu, is Leslie making any sense, or is he thumb-sucking? You have 90 seconds to challenge him on his vision statement. Your time begins now.
Okay, Leslie, you're speaking about all that we need to do and what the government needs to do and how the government needs to correct this. So now you see that South Africa, the funds are not reaching where they're supposed to reach now. And then, so what are you saying? Are you saying that we should always call upon the government to assist? What's the hope for those schools who never receive this funding anyway?
Zweletu, you must understand that the government spends a large proportion of our GDP on education. And as it stands, there is funds. Funds are there. For an example, I use the case of Eastern Cape.
Can you answer my question?
I use the case of Eastern Cape where there's mismanagement of funds. Those funds were meant to develop the schools in rural areas, but they are not reaching their place. And therefore, it means we need to put in structures, corruption, anti-corruption measures that will ensure that the government structures are not misusing those funds.
Okay,
and secondly, we also
all right, thank you very much, Leslie. You've answered his first question. Zweletu, what is your next
No, he has not answered my question.
He hasn't answered your question.
Because the thing, my question is, these funds are not reaching where they're supposed to be. You're speaking of putting in place structures. The ANC is forever saying that. Now, what can be done now so that these schools help themselves?
Zweletu, I'm saying this, put anti-corruption measures. That involves monitoring. I spoke about it even in the first episode when I said we need to take much discretion from the personnel who are in charge of including these funds according to tender procedures. I've said this. And you must understand that we need to build community networks that will also make sure, that will make sure that there's accountability.
All right, time is up. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Zweletu, you now have 30 seconds to address the issue of access to quality education. 40 seconds. Your time begins now.
Assign university students to assist in rural and township schools. Create favorable conditions for teachers and learners to work effectively together. And let the communities around these schools come together in assisting and maintaining the infrastructure in these schools and guarding and acting as security guards, and give more power to SGBs to make decisions when it comes to funding for the schools. Principals, teachers, students need to go out and garner for support from private companies. Private companies have a responsibility to make sure that they adopt a school each. There are 2,333 classes that need to be built all over South Africa.
Time is up. Thank you very much, Zweletu. You have 60 seconds.
Zweletu, you speak about let's get the community involved. Let's start building, but you are not going to the practical question which we are all asking. How do you intend that should be done?
Can I answer you, Leslie? Now, I grew up in a school whereby there was no funding whatsoever. This is the same school where Steve Tret and Steve Bigo went to. There's no funding whatsoever, but myself and a teacher called Miss Mkile, we went out to Edgar's, to the Edgon group, and went for support. We wrote letters and sponsors. The parents around the community would come and sponsor our cultural days. They did not have much money, but they came and were there. They were there in person.
But you are forgetting something. In the rural areas, that's where poverty is strife. And you're not taking into account that we don't even have structures. So you are expecting these teachers, these parents, to take the burden of building schools where they don't have the finances.
I did not talk about building schools.
Listen.
School building here.
Okay, so it's fine. You are the very same person who came on the stage and said that there are no schools. Learners are learning under trees. But you're saying let's not build schools. So what exactly are you saying there?
I don't think that's what he's saying, Leslie Zweletu.
I'm not saying, Leslie, that let parents build schools, but let parents make sure that they are
Where do they get the funding? That's what I'm asking.
Leslie, let Zweletu finish speaking.
Where do I get to speak? Now, there are children who study in rondavels. Now maintain what you have, and also let the teachers go and garner for support. Let the people, no matter how uneducated you are as a student, high school or primary school, you can
What
write
about
a
those under the
Can I
trees?
finish
I'm
answering
more
you,
interested
Leslie?
about those
Time
under
is
the
up,
trees you spoke
gentlemen. Thank
about.
you very much. Panel. Now, you've each written down the name of the candidate whom you feel deserves this vote. I want you each to now show me who you voted for.
Now?
Now.
Come on, Lucy, now. Let's think about it. Do it. Do it.
Do it. Zweletu. Zweletu.
Lucy, Zweletu. Yep.
You're killing me. You're killing me. Zweletu. And Zweletu is the first winner of our one-on-one debate. Now, Minister, what are your thoughts on Zweletu's performance, and why have you voted for him right now?
Well, it's the practicalities that you need to accept one thing, and one thing for sure, that unless you bring everyone on board, you can't solve. I think that's the theme that I would emphasize. You can't solve the problems, because if we have one person that claim will know how to solve all the problems, we'll defeat. Collective minds and collective ideas build a better future. And the idea of having everyone participating and a clear role clarification for everyone to say, as graduates, this is what we'll do.
Yes.
As parents, this is what we'll do. As educators, this is what we'll do. And that's what we need, because there's a confusion of roles in various communities. But the only limitation, which is very, very important, you can empower SGBs, but you don't have to remove the professionalism of educators, because educators are professionals. And the treatment of professionals running institutions must not be replaced by collective ideas. But the importance of bringing parents can't be underestimated.
Well said. I see why you are the advisor to the minister. Thank you very much. Viewers, you're watching your candidates in action. Elect who you support and keep voting, because the voting lines will be closed soon. SMS the word VOTE, followed by the number of your favorite leader to 41852. After the break, we go into our second one-on-one debate with our remaining candidates, Ayanda and Johan. Stay right where you are. Você? Sorry, could I have some of your water, please? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, okay. Okay, I'm with you. All right. Okay, all right. After this.
What are the score of this weekend? Between Chiefs and Pirates.
After the second one-on-one. Okay. Guys? Johan, guys, after the second one-on-one debate, after you guys, you'll have an open floor discussion where you will be allowed to challenge each other, but you can also challenge a panel of experts. They just wanted me to remind you. All right. The hell's my marker? One Day Leader. Our theme tonight is access to quality education. Now keep voting for who you support, and because the voting lines will be closed soon, you have to SMS the word VOTE, VOTE, followed by the number of your favorite leader to 41852. Now, Zweletu, you were the outright winner of the first one-on-one debate. What do you think gave you the edge over Leslie?
No, the problem is that Leslie was speaking at policy level, and South Africa has enough policies. Let's leave policy and deal with the people. That's what South Africa needs.
Simple and clear. All right, next up in our second one-on-one debate, that's between Ayanda and Johan. Ayanda, you now have 40 seconds to give us your vision statement that deals with access to quality education in South Africa. Your time begins now.
Thank you, Masechaba. My vision is improving access to quality education through the introduction of initiatives such as Adopt a School, restructuring discipline within schools where you have active parental and community involvement, as well as reinstilling the value and importance of education through mentorship programs within our school. And I talk about Adopt a School, and I call upon private companies, financial institutions, as well as tertiary institutions to come together and start adopting a school. This has been done before, and the results have been wonderful. For example, in 1992, Metropolitan Life came together with formerly known Rao University and established a school for children from disadvantaged communities. That school is Metropolitan Rao.
Time is up. Thank you very much, Ayanda. Johan, you now have 90 seconds to take Ayanda on her vision statement. Your time begins now.
Masechaba, Ayanda, I think you have a good vision today, and you said talk about adopting a school. I would just like to know, what is the incentive for companies to adopt a school?
I don't think we should look at such things in terms of incentive, because most companies are obligated as part of community development to plow back and do something for communities. The incentives is seeing the fruits that it bears, which is great graduates. For example, from Metropolitan Rauco, a young man by the name of Mpongkhodi, who at the tender age of 28 is now part of the Bombela concession that is overseeing the Gautrain development. Another successful story is a young lady who's made it to the top 6 and now stands before you as the top 4 finalist of One Day Leader, and her name is Ayanda Mandisabanta, and I think that's fruits enough.
All right, Johan.
Ayanda, then you touch on the other important thing in schools, and I fully agree with you, disciplining students. How do we do that in such a strict environment where teachers cannot really discipline the students like they used to?
Like I said, we should have active participation from communities and parents. As I said in the clip, teachers and principals give the students letters and expect them to be delivered. If I know that I'm in trouble, I'm not going to give that letter to my mom. Instead, we should cut out the middleman, being the student, where teachers and principals deal directly with the parents. Phone the parent or phone the guardian. When your child comes in late, tell your child that you will not enter the school grounds until I speak to your guardian or your parent.
Time is up, Ayanda. Thank you very much. Johan, you now have 40 seconds to give us your vision statement on access to quality education in our country. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Masechaba. Youth of South Africa, our education system is not where it should be, and there are indeed many factors that we can blame for this, but while we wait for the system to catch up, let's prepare ourselves and make sure that when everything is in place, we are also ready by disciplining ourselves. Don't come late for schools. Wear your uniform with pride, respect your teachers and your classmates. It is so important that we use the tools that we have to make the best of our current circumstances, so that when the circumstances change, we are prepared. The situation is not ideal, but it's in times like these that extraordinary people are made.
Thank you very much. Ayanda, does Johan have a winning vision statement, or is it just all emotional talk? You have 90 seconds.
I really do not think so. Johan, I respect you and everything, but you need to understand that every day you will find in rural areas those kids who will wear that uniform with pride and go to school and go be taught under a tree. You have those students that are already wearing it with pride, and they are going there and they're showing their dedication by going to these schools. Now, we are talking access to quality education. So far as the student is concerned, when they are there, they are present. But this education, they are not getting it. How do you suppose we now overcome that? young learners out there that are learning under trees. People don't have textbooks. People don't have science labs. People don't have computer labs.
What is your
And
question, Ayanda?
My question is, how do we deal with that? Stop telling us about wear your uniform with pride. How do we deal with access? How do we deal with the lack of textbooks, lack of facilities, lack of science labs?
okay.
All right, Johan, how do we deal with that? Thank you, Ayanda.
Ayanda, the thing about quality is you as the student are also a participant in creating the quality of your education. It is possible for a student in South Africa today to go to a completely free school, to attend a university and be paid for if his parents are too poor for that. It is completely possible. So it is possible for somebody to have a quality education without having the money, without having that facilities. It is possible, but you as the student must know that. You must
Johan, you're
take
saying
charge.
it's possible for someone to have access to quality education without the money and without the facilities.
In all fairness, those students from Gibson Combined School are going to school. Those students from Alex High, they are going to school, but they do not
Time is up.
have
Thank you
the
very much,
facilities that we
Ayanda
advanced in.
and Johan. Now, panel, you have once again written down the name of the candidate whose vision you support. Give it to me. Ayanda.
Okay.
Ayanda. And Ayanda is the winner of our second and final one-on-one debate tonight. All right, now Ayanda, you are the winner. And so you deserve to be. What do you think gave you the edge over Johan?
I think Johan has just missed the essence of the access to quality education. There's a very big lack in facilities, in infrastructure, in textbooks, in science labs, and we cannot really be focusing on wearing a uniform with pride. We need more than that.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, candidates. You heard tonight's 4 visions, and you heard how they were defended. You also heard what the panel of experts had to say. I'm now allowing a 4-minute open floor discussion, which means that you can challenge each other. And for once, you can even challenge our panel of experts on what they have said, on their opinions tonight. And Ayanda, because you're the only woman standing, I will give you a chance to begin. Your time begins now.
What I would like to ask Johan, still that he hasn't answered my question, how do we address, in your vision, this lack of facilities, the lack of equipment? How do we do that?
There are so many forums to address this on, and like Zuleta said, there's policy level, there's ground level, there are all these different levels. We are talking to the youth of South Africa. The youth of South Africa cannot change the policies. Maybe if they march all of them, they can, but practically they can't. What I want to say is this: it is possible for them to take part in their own education. Like I said, it's possible for them to have a university degree without having the money to pay for it. It is possible in this country.
All right, thank you very much, Johan. And let's not forget that the youth of South Africa were instrumental in bringing about democracy. They can change a lot. Zweletu, what are your thoughts?
Research by Graham Block shows that most students don't just drop out of school because they're not funded. Some of them, there's NSFAS out there, there's a lot, but some of them lack food to eat whilst in university. They lack accommodation. You know, they lack simple places. Like I have this article on me from the Sunday World. It says, poor results blamed on terrible schools, Johan. Infrastructure is the key. So what I'm saying is that we as the parents, we as the community need to do the basic things, support one another, but business has a huge responsibility.
All right, business does have a huge responsibility, and we need to be proactive.
Yes.
I'll get to you, Johan.
I think
Leslie?
we agree, Masechaba. I think we agree that infrastructure is a big problem. But however, we also need to look at socio-economic issues such as poverty, such as HIV prevalence rate. In South Africa, as it says, we have a problem where there's a lot of dropout between grade 10 and grade 11. They don't complete matric. Why? Because of the issues that Zwelithini has brought forth. We need to look into those. For instance, teenage pregnancy, which is prevalent in the high schools. What are we doing about that?
All right, what are we doing about that? Johan, I'll give you a chance to respond.
Exactly what I'm saying, Masechaba. Take part in your own education. Despite all these things you've said, one of the top students in Gauteng is at Alexandra High, which is in all fairness, terrible school. Why is that? Why can Katlego from Alexandra High achieve that? Why is that?
All right, Ayanda.
You know, I'd like to highlight what Leslie said. The reason why we also have such a high dropout rate is because now, and it's in policy level, where school is not compulsory from people from grade 10 to 12. So we need to address such issues as well.
Well, that's the first problem, isn't it, Zweletu?
Now, I have a problem with the system where if one fails matric, they cannot repeat it again. We are giving up on so many young people. We need to stop that and stop that. Yes. And I would like to ask any of the judges. Now we have a 0.1%, rate of literacy at grade 3 level. So what can South Africa do to improve the literacy rate of primary education, and where should we begin in doing
All right,
this?
Ayanda, you look like you're itching to disagree with what
I'm
Zwelethu
sorry,
said.
I have to disagree with you, Zweli, when you say that the learners cannot repeat matric. They actually can repeat matric. As we stand at Wits University, there's an organization called Star Schools that enables young people to repeat their matric. And there are also colleges out there that enable people to rewrite matric and redo it. So we can't come on national
Thank you,
television
Ayanda.
and say
Leslie.
that.
And I think most importantly, when we look at South Africa, we also have to look at it in relation to other countries. We have a pass mark of 30% for subjects in high schools. This is preposterous. And when they get to university, those students, they cannot obtain 50% because they are saying that they only need to know 30% of the work that they do. We need to increase that to a little bit higher so we challenge our young people, because like Johan said, they can do so much better. But if we are complacent with 30%, then this country is not going to go very far.
Absolutely. It starts with our mindsets, doesn't it? Zwelethu, you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree that the baton lies with the community and with the people. However, Ayanda, students are not allowed to complete school where they studied matric. And they have to pay a huge amount of money to go to those special schools that you're talking about.
All right, thank you
to
very much,
make provisions
Zwelethu.
for
Thank
that.
you very much. We'll leave it right there. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we now close the voting lines for tonight's one-day leader. Viewers, who won your vote? We'll tally up the scores, and in our final segment, we will announce the winner you have elected. After the break, we find out from our panel of experts who they believe you at home voted for and why. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned.
As soon as Batumo answers a question now, it means the camera is no longer on you. You pass the mic. Sharp. Strength.
Do we know which audience member will be talking? Oh, I think it's the gentleman with the mic. Hello. Oh, there's two more.
This lady here,
Okay.
and then this gentleman over there.
Okay. All right.
So he's starting.
Sean, should I ask them their names on air, or should I address them as if we'd already known, which I would advise against? All right. Okay. Great stuff. All right. Promise. Wow. That's my mother's name. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Welcome back to One Day Leader. Now, panel, last week, Sebenzile finally managed to get the viewers' support. And I mean, even though she was voted out, she came second in the viewers' vote. Leslie came first, and Zwelethu came third. Now, I'm going to ask you, Vusi, is there a pattern in the way that our viewers are voting?
Yes, definitely. I think what you'll see, and if you recall the Venencia, let's call it the Venencia case, where on the last day before she left us, she shot up in terms of what people at home were saying. She came second again to Leslie, and that was the same pattern repeated itself for Sebenzile. I think what you'll see is that the more impassioned the plea, the greater the influence, the better prepared the speech, the more you connect with the people at home, invariably the more they're going to vote for you. Because yes, you need to have a solid argument, you need to have something you have to say, but most importantly, you need to have a sense of authenticity about what you're saying so the people at home can connect with that. And that's definitely forming that pattern that you speak of.
I see what you mean. Thank you very much, Vusi. Now, Eric, from a leadership perspective, how do you think the votes will go tonight on the basis of the performance of our candidates tonight?
I think there are going to be two distinct ways in which the viewers can vote tonight. The smart viewer is going to vote for Zwelethwa because he's had by far the most compelling argument and he's backed it up in the best way possible. However, I think the majority of the viewers are still going to go with the crowd favourite over the last couple of weeks, and that's Leslie. And the reason they're going to do that is the same reason we drink Coca-Cola when we prefer Pepsi. And we do that.
Oh, Leslie is not a happy chappy right now. Leslie, what do you have to say about that?
I totally don't agree with Eric. I think the viewers at home, they have that choice to choose who they want, as in who they want to lead them. And what Eric is saying, I don't think our viewers are that dumb to a certain extent that Eric is suggesting. Because clearly, because Masechaba, as it stands, Eric is suggesting that the viewers at home, they don't know why they are voting, why they are spending 150 every Tuesday to vote. They know exactly why they're investing.
In no way did I say that the viewers at home are dumb, and you better understand that very quickly. Right.
From what
I'm
I said,
talking
it's what
about
you're
leadership
implying.
psychology here, right? The crowd will go where the crowd goes. And the reason they're voting for you, Leslie, they will keep doing it, right? But they're doing it because they love your brand, right? They like who you are.
All right.
Can I say something?
Okay, Vusi?
I think Eric does have a valid point. Just hear me out. In terms of to the extent that people have connected with you to date, they'll continue to. But that's not an insult, because what it means, and we made this point earlier, is you've consistently performed. And that means you've formed an impression. That impression has become the Leslie brand. And that's the brand that people will connect with.
That's exactly what came to mind when you said that, the Leslie brand in Ntate Panyaza, on the basis of our theme tonight, access to quality education in South Africa. What are your thoughts on the performances of our candidates tonight? Who stood out for you?
Every mind, every thought that I have, everything that I have, everything that represents me here, it's all there. These are brightest minds. These are people that will lead this particular country. These are people that knows and have the feelings to say, collectively as South Africans, the future looks bright.
Wow.
And I'm impressed with all of them.
And indeed, it is. Well, you heard it from the advisor to the minister. Thank you very much, Ntate Panyaza. After the break, we will reveal who you, the viewer, have voted for as your leader for tonight, and then we'll reveal the winner of the 10th episode of One Day Leader. Stay with us. The One Day Leader candidates compete for a magnificent prize package sponsored by the NYDA. This package includes an internship in the offices of the chairperson of the NYDA, an opportunity to shadow the president of our country, and a 2-week visit to a South African ambassador abroad. Yeah. Okay. 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 Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, please repeat. Uh-huh. Okay, say that again. And then give them to me again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You must have been very busy at the time when they were announcing the trick results.
Yeah, that's because that's the trick results and the opening of schools.
But I'm also talking about that whole
Okay.
controversy that was then caused by some of the newspapers.
Yeah.
Saying you guys
Okay.
had sorted stats.
Okay, got it.
And the last time I checked newspapers, they write about news. They don't have calculations.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. They write about news, eh? No calculators there.
So if the question...
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. I don't think so. Nope. Quite the contrary. Yes. Four South African youth leaders presented and debated their solutions to access to quality education in South Africa. You have voted for your chosen leader, a candidate whose vision you support. And as we've seen, ladies and gentlemen, anything can happen on One Day Leader. I love the show. The results are: in third place for 1 election point, Johan. In second place for 2 election point is Zweletu. And in first place for 3 election points is Leslie.
Thank you, South Africa.
In your face, Eric. Congratulations to all 3 of you. Let us now take a look at the scoreboard for this episode. All right, in the lead is Zweletu with 4 points overall for this episode. Leslie coming in second with 3 points, Ayanda with 2 points, and Johan is in 4th place with 1 point for the episode. Which means that Zweletu is the winner of tonight's episode. Congratulations, Zweletu. As the winner, you have the final say. 30 seconds, the floor is yours.
Now, alumni, you went to a school, go back to that school and plant in that school. Simple. Forbes Grant High School in Ginsberg, we're organizing a reunion this coming June. Please be part of it. We're calling everyone that went there. Steve Biko Foundation, everybody, go back to your schools. Nelson Mandela Foundation, go back to the school where Nelson Mandela studied. Bravusi, go back and plow back to your school. That's what we need in South Africa.
Thank you very much. Zweletu, are you going to go back and plow back into your school?
I'm tired. I'll go.
All right, please go. All right, Dr. Panyaza, thank you so much for joining us on the program tonight. I'm so happy with what's come up and these young people, dynamic youth leaders that we have here. What are your final thoughts?
I'm impressed, and I think it's just unfortunate that there must be various winners. All of them are winners, and I'm really hopeful that whatever they're doing in their own careers, the only and best thing to eradicate poverty is education. So they must deal with it and deal with it everything. I've got a soft spot for women, so I hope Ayanda goes up and deals with things. Because she's captured my imagination, her thought, her ideas, her presentation of facts and thoughts. And her capability to challenge other contestants, because normally you feel that women will sit back. But she's a very strong woman. I can tell you, she's in a class of her own. And watch leaders that will come. And I hope she will identify some of the national leaders that we have and adopt their style as well. Best wishes to all of them. And
Thank
those that
you.
have to leave, it's just unfortunate. It's part of the show.
Hey,
You must not
some
take
have
it
to
hard.
win and some lose. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, now Eric.
Well, I really wouldn't say it's been in my face, because I think the audience have voted exactly as I predicted they would. Over the last 10 weeks, Leslie has built a consistent brand, and people love it, right? And so that's why he keeps getting the votes.
Yeah.
So everyone else, guys, we're into the final, the home straight of the series. I think it's really time we up our game yet again. The consistent improvement has been awesome. Ayanda, I loved you tonight. You were really good.
Yes.
Super stuff. And awesome arguments from everybody. Let's take it into the final stretch. Anyone can still take this.
All right, fantastic. Vusi, who needs to most work on their presentation in terms of their leadership style?
Well, I think, no, wait, it goes without saying. In terms of presentation, ability to command the English language and influence, I think definitely Johan has a lot of work to do there. I think Leslie is miles ahead, and he's closely followed by Zwelethu, who every single week, let me say and confess to Zwelethu, I'm more and more impressed with you. Every week you bring your A game, you're doing very well.
Yes. Zwelethu definitely deserves to win tonight. Congratulations, Zwelethu. Remember to follow our candidates and their journey on the One Day Leaders site, on sabc1.co.za, and on onedayleader.mobi. Join us next week as our One Day Leader candidates touch on a very sensitive and harsh reality in South Africa, xenophobia. Find out what happens next week. For now, from me, Masechaba Lekalake. Good night.